cam. Yep. Hey, what's up, everyone? Today we're talking about hockey. Really switching up the vibe of the show completely. Like this. This is nice. Where do you read chat? On the big TV? On that one? Pops up. You're like, let's see. Ooh, that word again. Ooh, not good.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Elijah, young Eli, researcher Eli. I don't really have a full title yet on this show, but you can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me broke. I'm just kidding. You can definitely call me broke, but that's all right. We're pretty thick, or in the beginning of the offseason, pretty thick in the beginning, just because not a lot of movement. There's a lot of talk, a lot of rumors going on, but we're going to talk a little bit of NFL coaching grading, just my thoughts on the new hires. There's 8 coaching hires that I gave letter grades to. Going to give little insight to that, not really deep analysis, but just talks about it in general. But sad news, my car is having issues, so I didn't drive here, but I did, by the grace of God, get help from my friend, my roommate, Mr. Hayden Hammond. Hayden, you want to come on the screen real quick, say hello to the people?
Wow, what's up, everyone? It's an honor to be here. Hockey is my favorite sport.
It's football.
Football. So I love football. And Kirk Cousins going to the Falcons, 15 Super Bowls in a row.
15 in a row? Okay, I'll take
Right
that.
there.
I'll take that.
Thanks. Hey, have a great show.
I appreciate that. Yeah, he's going to be controlling the board a little bit today, so really do appreciate it. Thank you, Hayden. But yes, sir. Let's see. Let's look at the chat before we get rolling. Mason says, best show on the internet. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're looking to take over the fantasy footballers, so we're coming for you guys. And then Alex says, Eli the GOAT. Oh, thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Mason says, I'll call you the GOAT. Oh, guys, stop it. What is this? I call him Rockstar. Appreciate that, Father. And then the second GOAT, Mr. Hayden. Whoa, we got a little shout out for Mr. Hayden Hammond over there. But yeah, let's get right into it. We can switch over to the screens and then screen plus cam. So topics for today, we have grading new coaches. Like I said, it will just be letter grades. A little bit of talk on why I think these coaches are a good fit, not a good fit, the whole deal. And then we're going to look at free agency talk. I have about 10 players. I'm going to give predictions on where they're going to go, but like I said earlier, we're just in rumors talk right now. And then I have important dates as well that we can look at as far as, like, when can we expect to look at not even trades, but just, like, actual rumors getting put into play. So without further ado, let's get into these letter grades, and let's get rolling. So Falcons, we got Raheem Morris. I had to start off my Falcons first just because, hometown, go Birds. But I gave the Falcons a B. I did initially, if you saw it, Hayden was actually the one that broke the news to me on the stream. Was not initially happy with it, but I was okay with it at the time. But now I'm kind of on board because after he got hired, I would say, honestly, he got the most praise from the hiring, other than, Jim Harbaugh. But a lot of players are tweeting out, posting, saying, like, oh, the Falcons got a real one with Raheem Morris. He's a real players coach, which I love. The NFL is definitely moving in the NBA direction of player league, because it used to be all owners, all coaches, but now it's definitely looking like players run the league in all sorts of ways. But I give him a B just because he is set up for success. He is a defensive mind. That's the reason I didn't give it an A, because he's not an offensive mind. If we got an offensive-minded coach, A-, A+, all the way through. But defense was already fine, and we get a defensive-minded coach. So it didn't really change much. But I did like that he said, I think it was today or yesterday, that he said that if it weren't for quarterback play, I wouldn't be here. Pretty much taking shots at Heineke and Ritter, which is fine. It's criticism. You got to take it. So solid B for Raheem. I'm very excited to see how that goes. Don't think we're going to go for a quarterback in the draft. It's definitely going to be in free agency with Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins, whoever it may be. But hopefully Arthur Blank can make some right decisions. Then we're going to look at two Panthers, Dave Canales. B- for them. Carolina is a dumpster fire. The owner is throwing drinks on the fans. And the quarterback, like, you're switching quarterbacks and coaches. It's a dadgum carousel. I don't know what in the world's going on over there. I'm fine with it, personally, because Falcons fan, don't like the Panthers. But B- because he's a young offensive coach, or now head coach, I should say. But he's got a young quarterback in Bryce Young. There's, like, slight talent on the defensive side, but it's just not all there for me to give it an A. The situation is bad because they don't have a first-round pick. Not looking great in Carolina, but it's not looking terrible. So solid B- for them. Then we got Commanders. I have Dan Quinn. C+, yeah, not looking too good. Got the thumbs down from Mr. Hammond. I'd agree because Their defense is fine and their offense is bad. And Dan Quinn, he's not an amazing offensive-minded coach. The Atlanta team was great when he was there solely because of Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan leaves, and then what happens? Just not good stuff in Atlanta at all. But the good thing is for Dan Quinn and the Commanders is that they have that second overall pick, and I believe they're going to go with Drake May. Obviously, things can change, but they got a lot of room to play with. I'm not sure about their cap space. I would imagine it's a good amount because I don't think anyone's taken a lot of cap space on that team. But let's move on to the Seahawks. I like Mike McDonald a lot. Gave him a B+, not an A or an A- because personally, anyone that would have gotten Mike Vrabel, I think, would have been great. But a lot of teams came out and said they were intimidated by him. So I don't really know what they mean by intimidated. So that was interesting. But I like Mike McDonald a lot. The reason for the plus is because he did great with the Ravens. He led them in all three of the major categories of interceptions, sacks, and I believe it was forced fumbles or points per game. But, man, I'm excited for that Seahawks team because Devin Witherspoon, absolute beast on the secondary for the Seahawks, and they're just full of talent on the defensive side. So, and like I said, I've been saying this for the entire year. They are set up so well because they have young talent. They look great. And Geno Smith is a solid older quarterback. He's not at the stage of being old, right? But he's at the point of having that veteran experience that he can be confident in all of his moves. So B+ for them. Very excited for the Seahawks. We can move on to the next one. Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Appreciate it. Then we have the AFC side. Patriots, I still don't know if it's Gerard or Jared, but I think it's Jared. Jared Mayo, C+. I really thought they could have gone with Vrabel. I don't know why they didn't. But they went with, inside the organization, a guy that used to play for the team. He knows what the Patriots logo is all about. And yes, it was all Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but we're not in that era anymore. You can either be happy about it or be sad about it. If you're not a Patriots fan, you're probably happy about it. But it's going to be I'm curious to see because I believe he's now the youngest coach in the league. It's a lot of room to grow. Again, same situation or similar situation like Dan Quinn, that they have a high pick that they can play with. If they go with Jaden Daniels, that's great. If they go with Marvin Harrison Jr., that's great. They're in a situation where they can't really mess up. Expect like at number 3. If you have number 5, you can mess up, or even 6, 7, whatever it may be. But 3, I mean, there's only 2 players taken off at the board at that time, so you really should be fine. And then we have the Chargers side. Jim Harbaugh, A+. I couldn't be more proud than like anyone else that the Chargers went with Jim. He was ever since he announced that he was going to leave Michigan, it was like, I mean, everyone was all over him. Like vultures, shout out to Kanye, all over the like dead prey. Just they wanted to get that guy, and Chargers definitely got him. Most appealing for sure because they have Eckler, who may leave. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Herbert, Keenan Allen, and then they have, again, the 5th overall pick. A lot of these coaches are in good situations on high picks where they can make good choices. And Jim Harbaugh knows talent. He spent a little bit with the 49ers, went back to college with Michigan, and then back in the NFL. So he knows talent on football all around. And I think it's great, too, that this draft class is stacked, and now he knows he's played against some of these players. Some of these players are on his team, so he knows firsthand what these guys are like. Because some of these coaches may not even watch college football. They just might have a scout that goes out to games and just watches for him and then gives them a piece of paper and says, this is what we got. But Jim Harbaugh is literally in the trenches watching these players. Next team, we got the Vegas Raiders, Antonio Pierce. B- for me, mainly because I feel like Mark Davis and the ownership got pressured into this because Max Crosby said, I will request a trade if they don't hire Antonio Pierce. I don't know if there were better choices for the Raiders. I don't know, like Belichick, Vrabel, even those guys aren't on any other team. Like, I don't know if they were even options for those guys to get put on a team or even be hired. But I like him because he plays, he coaches for that logo. He knows what it's all about. The fans love him. The players love him. I'm sure the owners love him. And ever since he took over, they really did start to look great. The last team the Chiefs lost to were the Raiders, And he did well with a terrible quarterback situation. So, again, this is another team I think will pursue a quarterback in free agency. Not too sure. Can't imagine them drafting a quarterback, especially at the pick that they have. I believe it's at like 14 or so or somewhere around there. But, yeah, B- for them. And then last but not least, we got the Titans with Brian Callahan at a B. He did great things in Cincinnati, but he had Joe Burrow under gun. He had Jamar Chase out wide. He had Joe Mixon at running back. And now he's going to go to a team with an old DeAndre Hopkins, Will Levis, who is half a year into starting, and then Derrick Henry, who is leaving, But his mind is what made me put a B in there, because if you ever watched a Bengals game, my goodness, they drew up some crazy plays for some players out there. And I just think he can cook up if they can get younger. If they don't get younger, it could get really bad, But I don't know how much control he has of the vision for Tennessee, but we'll see how it goes. And for those that don't know, this is a random fun fact that for those that never will, care about it. But Titans were my first love, actually, Chris Johnson. But so the Titans, have a little soft spot in my heart. It is what it is. Let's move on to the next slide. Oh, whoa. You got to pay the fee. You got to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it, you guys. Thank you so much for even watching. We're going to look at the chat here for just a second, but make sure you share it to your mom, your dad, grandpa. You know the whole deal. Friends, family, whoever it may be, trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by the beginning of the season, beginning of preseason, really. We're at 530, I believe, right now, so not looking too bad. It's okay. We're going up and down. We'll see how it goes. But let's look in the chat real quick. Oh, real quick, man. See how I get a little nervous sometimes. Let's go. Wayne Heron said Hayden Uber. Yes, that's true. I'm probably gonna get you a coffee later or something. That's cool. Then we have Chili Rainbow. He said, I thought he was really going to host a hockey show. Hey, if you guys want it, we could really get it going. He is a Rangers fan, a Red Wings fan. Very light fandoms of the NHL, but it is what it is. Austin Briggs. Hey man, how's it going? Alex Poff. Sawyer wants you to know he's watching. Thank you, Sawyer. I appreciate that. Say on a play. Hello, my love. Says, you are an Arthur Smith fan. Come on. All right, that's disrespectful. My feelings kind of hurt, but it's okay. Hearts are still there. Yeah, thanks for the chat, guys. All right, let's move on to free agency news. This one I'm just mainly going to read from the notes that I have. And I'm going to be using the word... Well, I got notes on my phone real quick that I can read for you guys. So T. Higgins, he's really the only player that's been franchise tagged. Wait a second. What is franchise tagging? So this is a term that gets thrown around a lot during the beginning of the offseason. And I got a couple notes, and this is all from The Athletic. I love The Athletic, one of the best or one of the only good sports journalism, news articles, whatever it may be out there. So this is what the franchising or franchise tagging is. A team gets to use it once per offseason, so only on one player. It allows a team to retain a player on a guaranteed deal with non-negotiated salary. Can be used on players that are set to become unrestricted free agents. One of the best examples I can give is Saquon Barkley from last year. Okay, he was arguably the biggest free agent of last year, and then out of nowhere, the Giants franchise tag him. Had a lot of people confused, but basically it means, golly, it means that they can keep him for a year and not have to really worry about them leaving. It's more of just to be like, hey, prove yourself for a year, whether we can keep you or not for a good deal or, the whole shebang. I still don't even know, because when I looked it up, they didn't give me like a whole definition. It was like, just a whole mumbo jumbo. But there's two types of franchise tagging. There's exclusive and non-exclusive. Non-exclusive means the player can talk with other teams, and then if said player reaches a deal with other team, the team can match or refuse the contract. So if you're a fan of the NBA, it's pretty much like an RFA, a restricted free agent. So that player can talk to other teams. If they strike a better deal, the current team can match that deal or let him walk and receive 2 first-round picks. I don't know how that works. Maybe from the other team. So it's kind of like you're literally like tagging the player saying, this is mine, but if you want it, you got to give me a good price. It's a rather confusing deal, but you don't really have to worry about it. Usually guys that get tagged are only there for 1 more year. It happened to Tony Pollard last year, and they're probably going to let him walk. So it really only benefits the team because it saves them money, and you get to keep a star player for 1 more year. Like T. Higgins, everyone's like, oh, he's the number one guy. for free agency, and then boom, he gets tagged. He's not going to go anywhere, but he might. He could sign another deal with someone, and the Bengals can match it. But I don't think any other team is going to go after Higgins. Okay, I got about 10 players here, and I'm going to give you guys my prediction on where they might go and if it's a good fit. So we'll start with Derrick Henry. He has already been announced that he will not be franchise tagged, okay? He will not be franchise tagged, so pretty much meaning that the Titans are going to let him walk. He already gave that whole speech at the end of the last game saying, like, oh, thank you to the equipment staff. Thank you to the owners. Like, you wouldn't do that if you're not leaving. It is what it is. I believe there's two options. I would love to see him go to the Ravens. Don't know if that's going to happen. I would love to see it happen because that would complete the team. Or the Cowboys. I would hate it if he went to the Cowboys, but that one, from what I've been reading all day, that's a likely scenario. Saquon Barkley, again, he's not getting franchise tagged. I believe he's going to re-sign with the Giants. That's what I personally think. Or the Los Angeles Chargers. This one could be huge because if he goes to the Chargers, what's Austin Eckler going to do? Well, let's move on to Austin Eckler. I believe he'll go to the Broncos. Sean Payton, he's also not getting franchise tagged. Sean Payton will have a new, older running back to work with, and they'll be in that situation of win now. Russell Wilson, he's older. Austin Eckler, he's older. You have young receivers, but like, what does that really do if you have an older quarterback? Those receivers are getting older with that quarterback. Kirk Cousins, I think he probably is going to go to the Falcons if they don't go for Justin Fields. He might be cheaper in the sense of giving up stuff, not just money. But Justin Fields would probably, like, the Bears would probably want a couple picks, a player even, and then all we would get is just Justin Fields. I don't see that happening. Or the Vikings, or he signs with the Vikings, but I don't know if they're going to want to spend that money. Then we got Chris Jones. Personally, I think he's the best free agent on the market, but I think he's going to re-sign with the Chiefs. It was really funny. I don't know if you guys saw, but during the parade, he was like, I'm coming back. Let's run it back, blah, blah, blah. But he was having some of that happy juice, if you know what I'm saying. And his agent literally tweeted like 5 minutes after saying, like, someone cut him off, like, we don't want him talking any more free agency news because he's intoxicated. But I do think he's going to want to play for the Chiefs. Once players get like a couple rings in them, they'll take that pay cut all day. You see in the NBA all the time when like there's little dynasties happening and they just want to keep winning, they want to keep building their legacy. Money doesn't really mean much at that point. But yeah, I think Chris Jones will stay in the Chiefs as well. Sorry, Davis, if you're watching. Gabe Davis. They just cut MVS today, so they have a wide receiver spot open, clearly meaning they're going to either draft a rookie wide receiver or they're going to go after a big-name wide receiver. I don't see them going after Calvin Ridley, and I really do think they're going to go after Gabe Davis. He may be more expensive, but you're definitely going to get a bang for your buck in Gabe Davis. T. Higgins, again, he's going to be with the Bengals. Mike Evans, he's going to stay with the Bucs, and the only reason is because he's an older wide receiver, and I don't think anyone's going to want to pay that kind of money to bring him back. And also, I don't think he's been there his whole career. 1,000 yards in every season he's played. I don't think he's going to change scenery at all. So Mike Evans probably going to stay with the Bucs. He torches the Falcons like every time he plays. It really annoys me. Let's look at the chat real quick. I got a couple. David says, I want a hockey show. Hey, maybe it can happen. I don't know. And he says, I want to keep Gabe Davis. Yeah, that would be cool, but I don't know. I just got his jersey, he says. Tough, man. That's how it works. I got an Aaron Rodgers jersey for Christmas, and then in March he left right away. So it just stinks. Then Sayana said, I hang with the vultures. Would you want Fields or Cousins for the Falcons? That's a good question. Personally, like from a business standpoint, Justin Fields would be good just because Kirk is like 35 or 36. I think he's going to be 36 going into the season. But I love Kirk Cousins, personally, just because of the quarterback show. The guy's a great guy. Wife grew up in Alpharetta. Shout out to Alpharetta. But I think it would be nice. Either one would be nice, but I would like to see Fields because then we could have a young quarterback grow with the young receivers and the young running backs as well as young tight end. But I think Fields would probably be my answer just because I don't know. Yeah, I just think it works best. Let's keep moving on with these free agents. Michael Pittman Jr. He has not been franchise tagged yet, but he most likely will be. That's what has been talking in the works. They've been negotiating. If he doesn't get franchise tagged, they'll negotiate something because Anthony Richardson, for the time he played, he looked fantastic. But he's definitely going to want a young receiver that's like clearly in his prime. You know, he's not this young receiver that is looking to make his way in the NFL. Like, Michael Pittman Jr. now. I think he's easily a second-round pick or a early third-round pick in fantasy next year. Man, I can't wait for like fantasy drafts. It's gonna be crazy just because, my gosh, like I just want the rookies to get drafted so bad so that we can start. But yeah, he's gonna get franchise tagged probably. If not, they'll probably negotiate a deal. Josh Jacobs, this one will he's not getting franchise tagged as well, Josh Jacobs, but I predict will either go, and I know I said it for Derrick Henry, the Ravens or the Commanders. It was going to be Brian Robinson Jr. season, and then he started off great, and then it's straight down. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened, and Dan Quinn will probably want to clear out house a little bit. He probably will only want to keep Terry McLaurin on the offensive side. And then we have two more, a lot of running backs on this list. We talked about this like a month ago. Running backs are replaceable. It's becoming a carousel, clearly. It's actually really strange because I don't think it used to be like that. If you had your good running back, you held on to him. But now it's just swap, swap, swap. Here we go. Tony Pollard, he got franchise tagged. Didn't work out. Jerry Jones is a businessman. He's going to want him to walk. I believe he's going to go with the Eagles, a divisional rival. But that leaves the Eagles having to cut DeAndre Swift. So I think DeAndre Swift, if Derrick Henry does not go to the Cowboys, Swift will go to the Cowboys. He's only 25. Dak Prescott will definitely want some help with a young running back. And also, if Dak Prescott doesn't work out, you still have a solid young running back in the backfield. Not too bad. But that's just the short list. There are so many free agents. You can literally just look online of best free agents in the NFL, and you'll see like top 100, top 101 list. It's incredible on how many free agents there are, but there's only a few of them that are worth talking about. So this is the last part of the show. We're going to talk about the important dates coming up. So if you have your pen and pencil and some paper, get ready to write this down. So before we go, actually, we're going to look at the chat real quick. I thought you played for the Bills. Who is he talking about? Talking about Gabe Davis? I don't know. But yeah, he did. Yeah, play for the Bills. Important dates. March 5th is the deadline for the franchise tag. So we got, happy Leap Day to everyone. We got about 5 days left, or 5 to 6 days until the franchise tag deadline is approaching. March 13th at 4 p.m. So it's going to look kind of confusing. At 4 p.m., unrestricted free agents can sign contracts. March 13th at 4 p.m. March 11th, teams can contact players. So for about 2 days or so, that's when we're going to see, Kirk Cousins agrees to 2-year deal, $80 million with the Atlanta Falcons. You won't see pen to paper. Don't fall for those yet, because just because it says agreed doesn't mean it's happening. You got to see signed. Okay, signed means we're done. But they have about 2 days or so to get the ball rolling. That is one of my favorite times of the year, because there's just notification of all sorts of players with their new teams. Next one is April 1st. This one's very interesting. I had no idea about this. April 1st, teams with new coaches, so coaches that got hired at the end of 2023, can start off-season workout programs, and that's April 1st. And then teams that did not make any coaching changes can start April 15th. So that's just isn't that kind of weird? Like 2 weeks of time you get ahead of all the other coaches, which I get because, you're new and all that, but it's just interesting to me. Deadline for restricted free agents is to sign on April 19th. The Combine, it started February 27th, and there's some starting today, but it's just like 40-yard dashes. None of the big names. We're all here for the flashy names, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, all that. But February 27th to March 4th. And then the NFL draft is April 25th through the 27th. And, make sure you have a draft party for that. It's always exciting to see people's reactions. I know Hayden and I had a gutted, it was a gutted reaction whenever we took Bijan Robinson. Because we wanted, not, necessarily wanted Jalen Carter, but we just thought, it's there, And then we went with an offensive player, and we were just like, what? But we have Tyler Algier. But, now we're looking we're looking pretty good with Bijan. Not too bad. No one's in the chat. That's okay. Let's see. We're going to end the show with 7 viewers. All right. I appreciate that, you guys. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Hayden, for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks for the ride. Thank you, Sayana, for chatting. Thank you, Alex, Austin, Davis, Wayne, Mason, Chili. Appreciate you, Chili. But yeah, appreciate you guys so much. Be prepared for all the rumors that are coming your way. We live in a dangerous time of these fake rumors, all right? Fact check them, okay? It's going to get dangerous out here. But I really do appreciate you guys. A short show today. This is what it's going to be like for the next couple months. There's not much to talk about. But let me know in the comments what you guys want to look at for the next few months, whether it's like rankings of quarterbacks or like positional players or just rankings of teams, predictions, whatever it may be. Or how about this? If you guys want, send me, or my Instagram is @eheron22. Send me your mock drafts, and then I could maybe, if I get enough, I could grade y'all's mock drafts, and then we can make a whole show about it. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. God bless, be kind, and peace out.